communication track and the leadership track. So I'm going to go through a basic overview of both of those, as well as give you some pretty decent info on completing them, how you progress through these tracks, that kind of stuff, as well as some tips that I've just learned in my time as a Toastmaster working on these. So first we'll deal with the communication track. And the core of this is the competent communication manual. Now, as a new member, everybody gets your competent communicator, your CC. And that is a book that includes 10 speeches for you to go through. Now, these cover your basic skills that you need to begin public speaking as a Toastmaster. It goes over, now the topic can be anything that you want, but the projects in the book deal with one or more skills per project. The first is basically just an icebreaker. It kind of lets you get up here and start talking in front of people, and you can start recognizing your strengths and weaknesses. But as you progress through the book, you also get to focus on things like vocal variety, how to use your voice during a speech. You can focus on body language, what you should be doing with your hands, how much movement you should be making, all that kind of stuff. And as you get towards the end of the book, you start combining all of those skills that you learned from your previous speeches to actually use them for specific things like motivating people or persuading people. When you finish your competent communicator, you receive a competent communicator award, much like the one that Virginia received today, except it's for competent communicator instead of advanced communicator. And having that is a requirement for some of the other awards that you will receive down the line. Once you have finished your competent communicator, you can move on to the advanced communication manuals. And these manuals are a lot of fun. They really are. I've done 2 of the manuals so far. I'm in my 3rd. I've done the humorously speaking, the storytelling, and now I'm working on interpretive reading. I'm going to give everybody a little tip, at least my own opinion. It may not be the same for you. For me, I find that these manuals can be really difficult, but if you, instead of looking for one to say, oh, I have that under control, I usually make a lot of jokes in my speech, so I'm going to do humorously speaking. No, go for one that you don't have a good skill set in, because the ones that you have a good skill set in, you have a set way that you want to do things, which might not match up with how they're telling you to do it in the advanced communication manuals. So doing things like, if you have a hard time with presentations, doing like a technical presentation manual might be good. Now these manuals are basically 5 speeches each rather than 10. And there we go. Get a list of these things here for you. There we go. When you finish your competent communicator, you get your competent communicator award from Toastmasters, as well as you can choose 2 advanced communication modules for free. After this, you got to pay for them, but they're not that expensive. They're like $6 a piece or something like that. But you get 2 of these for free. You can choose any 2 you want, or more if you want to. But when you complete 2 of those manuals, that's when you complete your first award in the Advanced Communication Series, which is your Advanced Communicator Bronze. Requirements for the Advanced Communicator Bronze. You have to have achieved your Competent Communicator Award first. That's those 10 speeches. And then complete 2 of the Advanced Communication Series manuals. Very easy. Basically, from beginning to end, that's 20 speeches. When you finish that, you get to go on to your Advanced Communicator Silver, which Virginia just got today. For that, you have to have achieved the Advanced Communicator Bronze. You can kind of see how it flows. It's kind of like math. If you skip algebra, you'll never get geometry. It's just the way it works. You have to progress through it. So after you've got that, you have to complete 2 additional advanced modules. Same set of 15 that they have, just choose 2 more. And then you have to conduct any 2 presentations from the Better Speaker Series or the Successful Club Series. That is what I'm doing today. This is a presentation from the Successful Club Series. And those are 10 to 15 minute speeches that usually come with some sort of PowerPoint presentation are other type of aids, such as handouts, books, various things like that that you can hand out and work with the group on to educate people on anything from meeting roles and responsibilities, like this here, the educational program. You can also talk about higher level things like the Distinguished Club program, which are a set of 10 goals that every club tries to achieve each year. But they're really fun to do, so I'd suggest when you get to that level, really get into those, have fun with them. When you have achieved those, you get your Advanced Communicator Silver, and then you get to move on to working on your Advanced Communicator Gold. This one, like the other ones, it requires the previous award to go forward. 2 more advanced manuals, excuse me. And then, a little bit different here, conduct a presentation from the Success Leadership Series, Success Communication Series, or Youth Leadership Series. These are kind of like the presentation I'm doing here, the Successful Club Series, except the Success Communication Leadership Series are more interactive from what I've seen in the past. So those are actually more of a hands-on, these are more hands-on projects than the one that I'm doing today, rather than just standing up. And then coached a member with the first 3 speech projects. You've got a lot of experience, you're going to want to spread it around, help out your new members. So eventually, every new member will hopefully be standing where you're at when you're doing these things and helping other people out. So that is the communicator track. That's the furthest you go in the communication track for Toastmasters. And you get a really good sense of how to get up and speak in front of people, how to communicate your ideas, how to relate the words that you have on paper when you're preparing a speech to words that are coming out of your mouth, and do that successfully so that people not only understand what you're saying, but it'll help you be believable, it'll help you persuade people, motivate people, and get them to do things that you want them to do or enrich their lives, whatever your focus is. So the other portion, the leadership track. Toastmasters, I know that most of us come here because we're like, oh, I'm a horrible public speaker, I just need to get my speaking right. Well, Toastmasters also focuses on leadership. For those new members here who haven't started working on it yet, the Competent Leader Manual. When you get your new member kit, you get that Competent Communicator, you also get your Competent Leader. And it has 10 projects in it that require various things, but here's the thing about this. Your Competent Communication is like this thick, your Competent Leader is like this thick. It's a much thicker book, but the interesting thing about it is if you just bring that with you to every meeting, chances are at every meeting you're going to have an objective that you can fulfill. And you will just breeze right on through that thing. The first 6 months I was in Toastmasters, I didn't even open the Competent Leader book. I was like, I don't have time to look at this. I'm too focused on my speeches. Then I opened it up one day and saw all the stuff that I was like, oh, I do this every week. So I started bringing it every single week. And it took me about another 6 months to a year. I had it done. But it focuses on, like I said, the 10 leadership projects, but it focuses on basic leadership skills. So you deal with listening, critical thinking, team building, that kind of stuff. Some of the objectives in there are things like being the Toastmaster, being the table topics master, presenting a table topics speech, evaluating, being a general evaluator. Pretty much if you look down the agenda and you see all the roles that are on there, pretty much every single one of those roles is something you need to do in the Competent Leader book. There are also some other things that you need to do, such as one of the requirements is to chair a club contest. Now, if anybody is interested in doing that, I know we have our contest coming up soon. We'll have 2 of them, so that's actually 2 opportunities that if you're working on that book that you could have to knock that out. And really, we've only got 4 opportunities per year, maybe 5 or so if we do like a tall tales competition or something like that. But you have the summertime contest, the fall contest, that kind of stuff, and you got your winter and spring contests. So if you're interested in going through that, I would really encourage you, start bringing that book every single meeting, because you'd be surprised how fast you get through it, and then one day you're going to look at it and be like, oh, I'm done with everything, I can get my Competent Leader Award. which is really good because then when you get your Competent Leader Award, you can move on to your Advanced Leader Bronze Award. Continuing on further. Requires that you have to achieve the Competent Leader Award, obviously. You have to have achieved the Competent Communicator Award. So you can't get the Advanced Leader Bronze until you have already got the Competent Communicator or the Competent Toastmaster, the older awards that we had for. This one also requires that you have served at least 6 months as a club officer, and during that time, help prepare and go through a club success plan. Now this is something that I say is really invaluable. Okay, when I became a club officer and started taking on responsibilities, whether it was Sergeant at Arms or Vice President of Public Relations, you get this tremendous sense of responsibility. Oh, it's my job to get this done. And you just, it really teaches you a lot of aspects of Toastmasters that you don't realize if you're just showing up every week. You're going to the officer meetings that typically we'll have every 2 to 3 months. Get to speak on club business, and during that time you also get to hear from the other officers, so you get a lot better information about the other officer roles too, because you're sitting there working with the other officers. So this is really helpful for building a lot of those leadership skills, because you have to have a plan for how the club itself is moving forward, how your officer position is moving forward, and then once you've completed that, the next person that takes over that position, you get to be a resource for. The other thing, while an officer participated in a district-sponsored club officer training. If you're an officer, you need to be trained. You need to find out what your responsibilities are. So with that, that's one of the requirements for the Advanced Leader Bronze, but it's also a requirement of being an officer. There are certain things such as the Distinguished Club Program, certain district incentives that require a certain number of our officers to be trained. So that's really important as well. And if you are a club officer, then you want to make that a priority. And then conducted any 2 presentations from the successful club series, like this one here today. From there, you can move on to your Advanced Leader Silver. Requires the previous leadership award, like the other ones. You have to serve a complete term as a district officer. A district officer, that could be an area governor, division governor, district governor, lieutenant governor of education, or marketing for the district. Any of those offices that are available within the district, you can do that. And these terms, I believe in our district, they're year-long terms. I haven't seen anything be less than that. So you also have to serve successfully as a club sponsor, mentor, or coach. This is where you get to go on and help a new or struggling club improve. So if you have a new club, you help them to get chartered, and you help teach them how to successfully run Toastmaster meetings. Or if you have a club that's struggling, you can get in there and help them to really turn things around, get their membership more active, get more members, and just hopefully increase their membership and make their meetings that much better so their club is a lot stronger. You also have to complete a high-performance leadership thing as well, and that's 5 projects. Now these are, the high-performance leadership is basically a program where it can be done inside of Toastmasters or outside of Toastmasters. You have a committee that you work with when you're doing it that can kind of give you feedback as you're going through this project. And on any of the things, I don't want to dive too far into each of these parts within here, but if you have any questions on any things I've spoken about, come see me after the meeting, whenever, and we can talk about it. Finally, we have the Distinguished Toastmaster. This is the furthest award that you can get, the highest honor, the Toastmasters Awards. For that, you have to achieve the Advanced Communicator Gold and the Advanced Leader Silver Award. So basically, you have to have completed both tracks, the communication and the leadership track, all the way to completion, and then you can get your Distinguished Toastmaster. And that one there, instead of a piece of paper, you get like a little plaque or something like that, I believe. Is that right, John? I think John's you the only one in this club that has a DTM?
I believe so.
Yeah. You've got like 2 or 3, right?
2.
So
You have 2 DTMs?
Yeah.
So if you need information on it, that's the man to talk to right there.
And I did not set out to get either of them.
Wow.
It just happened.
Wow.
So that's the thing, if you come prepared, always have a speech prepared, always have a leadership manual with you. If you are just prepared, you're going to have the ability to speak, to lead. And those opportunities are going to make you fly through. I got my Advanced Communicator Bronze Award in April, and I was only on the schedule for like 4 or 5 speeches. But I always had one ready. And every time somebody said, oh, we don't have a speaker today, I rose my hand. And then I just blew through it like a year. So, what is your goal? You can look through, you can see these. This little deal here is also in your Confident Communicator book. If you look in the back of it, you can see the path to get to these here. What are your goals for Toastmasters? What do you want to get out of Toastmasters? If you just want to get rid of a little bit of fear, that's it, maybe the Confident Communicator is enough for you. If you want to really just get a few of your leadership skills a little bit polished, then maybe just the Confident Leadership is enough for you. You don't need to go for that. But if you really want to improve on those basic skills, if you really want to refine them and fine-tune every single little aspect of everything that you do when you're standing up here so that you are a more confident, a better understood speaker, and so that people are more receptive to you when you speak, then I would encourage you to continue going as far as you can, whether it takes you 5 years, 15 years, 2 years, however long it takes. Just keep going through. Keep working on it, because no matter how long you're in Toastmasters, no matter how many speeches you've given, no matter how good you were when you started or how good you are now, there's always room for improvement. So keep coming back, keep working on your manuals, keep going through this, rely on those that are more experienced than you to give you information, and help those that are less experienced than you to help them move along to where you're at and further.